Hey everyone, this is Coach Phoenix.
And I'm Coach Gina.
And this is Toast with the Coaches.
Cheers. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Perspective. Thank you all for joining us. This is the show where we talk about life, the universe, and all the other jazz.
Again, this is Coach Phoenix, owner and CEO of Role Model Life Coaching LLC, where we focus on life transition. At Role Model Life Coaching, we help individuals navigating down the road of life toward their model self.
And everybody, just a reminder, if you are not already working with Phoenix, you need to connect with him. He is a wonderful person, amazing life coach who can help you through any transition that you're going through, be it work, life, relationship, et cetera, et cetera. He has got you, he's got your back, and he will help you through it. I am Gina Erickson. I'm a certified life coach and founder of Clear Focus Coaching. I specialize in helping entrepreneurs untangle the challenge of starting up a business, finding work-life balance, and staying accountable to their goals. I also specialize in empowering women. I help women recognize their strength and potential in work, life, and relationships so that they can face every day with confidence and intention.
Thank you. And I highly recommend Gina. So if you need a life coach and you need to focus in those areas of her specialty, go see Coach Gina. Her information is below. Now, I am really, really excited about today's guest. I would like to raise a toast. I would like to raise a toast to a phenomenal young woman, an entrepreneur, an inspirational and aspiring leader, and most importantly, a boss, Jordyn DiOrio. Cheers!
Woohoo! What an intro. Thanks, Phoenix.
You're welcome, Jordyn. I mean, you earned it.
Yes, I'm drinking a Manhattan. For those who don't know, that's whiskey with vermouth and a cherry, and it is delicious. So I'm happy that we get to drink on this show.
I'm feeling great. I'm glad you're having a little brunch drink.
I'm also glad that you're having a little New York in your drink right now, too.
Yeah,
there's a nice... For those of you who are listening or watching, Jordyn is in Minneapolis, my hometown. So she's bringing a little bit of New York, Phoenix's hometown, with her drink. So it's a nice connection that we have going here.
Exactly. I'm glad you try to make that. You try to include me into that. Y'all were. I know y'all both from Minneapolis, so you had to throw in a Manhattan so I could feel comfortable.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Cheers.
Manhattans are cheers. Manhattans are the best. I only need a couple. I'm a really cheap date for my fiance, and you just need a couple. They're good. You get a little surprise with the cherry at the end. I mean, what more can you want? It's delicious. So
hold on. So you mentioned that you live in Minneapolis, right? And before we go into how dope your life is and your amazing story, I do have a question. Given our climate and the way things are today, being a white woman, a millennial, and a business owner living in Minneapolis, with the climate being the way it is, like, how has that impacted you, if any?
Oh, what a great question. I mean, for those who maybe aren't living on this planet or living under a rock, I mean, Minneapolis is where George Floyd was killed back in May, which feels like 3 years ago. I think the pandemic has changed our sense of time. But yeah, I think it's, for some reason, this felt different. And maybe that's just the privilege in me talking that it felt different, but maybe because it was so localized. And I think the mix of the pandemic, George Floyd dying, and it happening, being filmed and being spread so quickly on social media, and us kind of being re-traumatized by what happened and how he was killed unjustly. And then the riots. I mean, I live downtown Minneapolis, so I was in the area where a lot of the peaceful protests were happening, and then where some of the protesters were arrested and tear gassed, and where it felt really, really intense. And I think what happened this time in comparison to any other time a Black person has been killed by the police was, it felt different to me because I saw it and it happened in my town and it was wrong, period. There is no questioning what happened and how he died and how brutal it was. And also I went to his memorial on 38th in Chicago, and that something happened where I apologized to him, and I didn't know him. I just said, I'm so sorry. And as a business owner, which we'll talk about my businesses, but we have a duty not only to like provide products and services, but to also vote with our money. And we vote by, donating to causes we care about, making a statement that we are not going to tolerate things like that, and supporting our businesses of color, and also educating ourselves. It's a privilege to learn about these things. And I've talked to my Black friends about it, and they're like, Jordyn, this is so cute. You're just learning about racism.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but I'm like, okay.
But like, I could take the heat. I'm one of 7. I've been fighting with my siblings my whole life. I can be nasty, and I know what it's like for people to just tell me how it is. And like, I appreciate that, and I acknowledge that.
Yes.
But I think as a business owner, we have a responsibility to support things that we care about, especially the injustices. And if you believe in equality, you also believe in fairness and dignity, and that includes everybody. And you have to kind of put your stake in the ground a little bit. And everybody does that differently. There's no right way to do it. But it's been a really sad time. I think sad is the word I've used a lot. And I know people are angry, but I think if anything, I've just felt really overwhelmed and sad. And there's a lot of unlearning I've had to do. And I've had some really tough and uncomfortable conversations, but it's, everybody keeps saying it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I totally agree that like progress looks differently for different people. But that was a really long-winded answer, but it's been really hard and it's been sad. And I'm doing everything in my power to get educated. I've been as I can. That's kind of how I learn, is just absorbing and then having conversations with people that have actually experienced these things instead of living in my bubble. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the whole thing has been really, really sad and violent, but there's also been a lot of peace and I think a lot of change. And it's been a very interesting time.
I feel like there's been a lot of awareness brought to the forefront because of the situation. So no, I don't think it's long-winded at all, Jordyn. I appreciate it. Thank you for your answer.
Yeah. And I think what I'm hearing a lot too, which I think is really important for a lot of people in this situation as well, feeling that sadness, is being open to being corrected and just learning, yes. Because like you said, we are privileged, also a white woman, to have not had those experiences, especially so close to us for most of our lives. And so having this experience be proximity wise very close to us and impacting our city and impacting the people that we personally know and love is, fortunately or unfortunately in a way, it's new to us, and it's a new experience. That Phoenix, like, I know we've talked about it before, that Phoenix has, lost many friends throughout his life or very early on in traumatic ways. And so like that it's taken to this point for us to go through that and to have that experience. There's a lot of learning that we have to catch up on and a lot of learning that we need to be willing to do. So I really appreciate that, especially as a business owner who can make a big impact with your messaging and with your money and with your, the way that you are promoting yourself and others and propping up other people too. I appreciate that you're being open-minded to that and just aware. So
totally. Yeah. And I will say, I saw a quote this week and it said, I wish we were less interested in being right and more interested in being curious. Mm-hmm. And I think like that's the piece that's missing, is everybody is so interested in being right about what's going on instead of either one being corrected or being like, I just having the self-awareness to know that you're going to get it wrong and that you're not expected to unravel our systematically racist system in one day, but you have to acknowledge that you don't know everything and you have to be willing to understand. And that is where I think is the biggest piece I struggle with, is like, everybody wants to be fucking right about everything all the time. And it's like, no, we're going to get it wrong.
Yeah. Sometimes
be interested in learning.
Understand like, hey, I just want to learn. Definitely.
Totally.
So in thinking about learning, let's learn about who Jordyn is. Right?
Perfect segue.
Yeah, definitely. So Jordyn, tell the viewers, tell myself and Gina, man, like, who's Jordyn? How do you become the boss that you are today?
Oh, it was just super easy. Just like, happened overnight. Yeah, just no crying.
Yeah. No, I heard that
kidding.
you were actually born into wealth and that it was
Yes.
just like you had you had
yeah.
a small loan of $1 million, I think, and then you just
Yeah, very small one.
Super small, super easy to get with no financial records I needed to submit. Anyways, okay, so I'm actually from Chicago originally. I've been in Minneapolis for I think 5 years now. So I grew up in Illinois. I'm one of 7. I have a big Italian family. Yes, we're all related, I think. Some of them I'm a little iffy about.
ones you don't like are probably not related.
Yeah, I like to think so. Mostly women, and I have a couple brothers, and all of my siblings are having children. So I already have 4 nieces with a 5th on the way in October. Us Italian Catholics just like can't stop having children. We have no self-control. I'm also a recovering Catholic, so I'm not religious anymore. I've done the whole thing though. Not interested. Pass on my end.
I go Catholic as well, so I put my little dip in there. Yeah, I grew up Catholic.
Yeah, did it, not for me, and that's okay. I'm more agnostic, just believe in a higher power, just not that guy.
You and Gina have something in common. Gina, you're as well, right?
Likewise, agnostic.
Yeah, I think there's something there, but I don't need some guy to tell me what I can do. Clearly a feminist at heart. But yeah, so I grew up in a big family. I think like if I can think of key things that have just evolved me into the person that I am today is like I grew up, especially my childhood was really nice. We made a lot of money. I was definitely an upper middle class America. And then 2008 happened and, we became a statistic where it's like we went on vacations. I got gifts. My siblings got cars when they turned 16. And then 2008 happened. And then we went from like everything's fine to everything's not fine. And our house got foreclosed on.
Oh, shit.
Move out. Yeah. I mean, also in the same year.
So they even happened to like the upper middle class. I really wanted to say because they even happened to white people, huh?
Sorry for that scream, but that was good.
No, it's real because again, it shows their perspectives, and we want to give different perspectives. Right. And I know there's sometimes we forget that everybody's human. We all go through the same experiences at different times in our life and different situations. So I just wanted to highlight that.
That's hilarious. Yes.
So how old were you, if you don't mind me asking, when that transition happened for your family?
So I was 16. So I was 16 when that happened. I mean, think about when you're a 16-year-old, you're a sophomore in high school, you're thinking about college. And that's when I realized, I have to start working now and kind of helping. So I started working as a hostess at a dinner theater restaurant place. And by the time I was 18, I was running that restaurant. I had become a manager and which actually one of my mentors, he's still there, kind of just guided me into working hard. And he just had promoted me and I was running probably a multi-million-dollar restaurant when I was 18. Wow. Which is really fun. Also, I know the service industry is suffering, but when it comes back, everybody should work in the service industry. It's really hard and you eat a lot of shit, but sometimes you make a good tip and it just teaches you about people.
So real quick, I heard something that I want to just ask you about. So you told me, from 0 to 16, you live in this cush life, right? Upper middle class, got everything, going to vacations.
Yes.
It's good, right?
Yes.
And then something happened. Our country went through a hard time in 2008 hit. And at that moment, for you, being in a family of 7, you had to go get a job. And when you got this job, that's when you had to learn. You start learning your work ethic, and you start learning how to become this person you became today. So basically, hard time or hitting your face on the concrete woke you up to change who you are, and you instead of with that, with fight, flight, or freeze mode, instead of the flight or the freeze, you fought. Am I saying that correctly?
Totally. I think that's spot on. And I think I just had and I don't know what it was, but it's you can't blame your parents for an economic, I didn't feel like I had a choice. To me, it's not productive to feel upset about something. It's already happened. That's kind of, I feel when bad shit happens, you're oh, this has already happened. now what am I going to do about it? And like, I didn't have the funds to go to I wanted to go to DePaul. Like I wanted to go to these big schools, but I knew financially I didn't know enough about like loans, or I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. So I decided to go to a community college for 2 years. And so this is like, I think about anytime I feel tired now, I think about like when I was in college, my first 2 years, Thursday through Sunday, I'd work 30 hours a week as a manager of that restaurant. Monday through Wednesday, I would work in a retail store, which was Hot Mama, which is now called Ever Eve, which Gina, I know you're familiar with. And I would do the closing shift. And then Monday through Friday, I'd be taking 5 credits a semester. So I was full load student, managing a restaurant. And then I was working I worked 7 days a week, went to school.
Wait, you said 5 credits. Did you mean 5 classes?
Well, yeah, 5 classes. Thank you. Whatever the like.
I was going to say, 5 credits is not a lot.
Yeah, I was like 20 credits for 5 classes.
Yes, I don't know how many. Yes, thank you.
I was thinking you worked 2 jobs ago, but 5 credits is really not a.
You were like, so half of an online course? Thank you. It was 5 classes, which I think was right. I think you could take up to 6, but yeah, I felt like it was one of those things where I don't know. To me, it's like, just kind of put your head down and work. And it was hard. I mean, like, I was just trying to survive, and I paid for those 2 years by myself by just working. I was able to get a scholarship to study abroad. I mean, I was working really hard, and thankfully I had my mentor at my restaurant job who kind of like taught me about things that you don't learn in college, which is like your people skills and how to like manage people that are older than you and like negotiating and advocating for yourself, which as a young woman, like, you know, you're taught to like think about how cute you are and how much attention you can get and don't speak too loud. And I felt like that I feel like developed me faster as a leader instead of maybe going straight to college, which again, like, I don't know in retrospect, but Phoenix, to your point, like if this wouldn't have happened when I was 16, like I might have not valued my education. I might have just kind of been an entitled little shit. Like, we know those people. I went to college with people like that I wanted to punch in the face, because I'm like, you don't know how hard it is for me to, you know, write that rent check every month. It's like writing rent or like paying for groceries. Like, I think it just teaches you to value things and just have a little bit of grit, and then you can be more resilient than other people. So that was up until like college. And then I met my now fiance in Chicago, who's a professional actor at the time. And he was from Minneapolis. And I came to visit him a couple times, and it was right when I was transferring, and I applied to a bunch of schools, and I applied to the U of M, and I visited the campus, and I was like, yep, this is where I want to go. And then I had the director of transfers reach out and say, hey, we'd love to have you here, which felt like a personal touch. I also learned that about sales. Personal touch gets someone to buy. So I've always taken that with me. And then I decided to transfer.
Hold on, that's the gym, everybody. I don't know if you caught that, but write that down.
personal touch.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's really funny that you say that, because we've mentioned this in episodes before too, and probably will be continuing to talk about this personal touch, building relationships, like building relationships with people. It's where it's at, whether you're in business, whether you're a police officer, whether you're in a family, whether like whatever it is, like building relationships is how you move progress forward, or how you make progress. It's how you build a business. It's like the foundation of everything, I feel like.
Yes, and I just want to add a caveat to that, Gina. Individuals, man, I think I said it before. Going on the days when you say, I don't need anyone, I could do it myself. You cannot do it yourself. You know, ask any successful person that is alive that how do you make it? Did you do it on your own? And they would say, no, I had a strong support circle. You just got to build that support circle. So that's a good one. Thank you, Jordyn, for sharing that.
Yeah, I think that's so true. What is the quote? I heard it. I get a lot of quotes and listen to a lot of podcasts, and it's, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Like that's what I think about too, when you just said that. And think about you guys as coaches. It all comes down to like, you know, someone's intentions, and anybody who has good intentions is going to get farther than somebody who maybe doesn't have good intentions, but can move faster than you. And that's a big part of sales too. It's like, what are your intentions when you're selling something? We all know the skeezy car salesman. He's just selling to make money, but like, do truly believe in something, it's not really sales. At least in my mind, it's not. But yeah, so anyways, I moved out here in 2013. So it's actually been 7 years, not 5. Sorry, math.
How old are you, Jordyn? If you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
I am 27.
You are 27 years old. Oh my God, viewers. You said 2013, and I'm like, man, that was like yesterday. So you're 27 years old, and as you go along with this interview, you'll understand why I'm so excited. Your resume thus far is amazing. To be 27 years old.
Thank you.
Please continue.
Will you be my, I'm just going to call you Phoenix if I just need a pick me up. Yeah, he's my official
for hire. I told you. See, that's why you should hire me, viewers, because that's my job as a coach. I partner with you to get you towards your model self. Role Model LLC. Check the website.
I mean, sales, baby. Personal connection. I've just referred him, and I feel like we're already fast friends. Exactly. And I also love Gina, and everybody should work with Gina. Gina, we should probably schedule something. Side note. Just make a note of that.
I'm just saying. I will hire Gina before I hire me. I'm just saying, because Gina will help you definitely get there in your career. And if you're a woman, she's all about powering women and partnering with them. So I'm just saying.
Same, Phoenix. The thing that I love about kind of everybody that does start their business, Jordyn, what you're saying is the personal touches. And the thing that stands out to me is personal. You have your personality coming into whatever it is that other people don't. And that's what sets you apart, right? Phoenix and I were both life coaches, but the part of our personality that comes out, Phoenix has strengths in areas that I do not. I have strengths in areas that he does not. But but there's things that we bring to the table to help our potential clients. Jordyn, there's
together we are Captain Planet.
Easily the best show ever. Jordyn, you can make our power rings. But I love also the thing, that you're saying is the personal touch is the thing that sets you apart. But sorry, so I want to continue. You're 27, 26.
27 right now.
27 right now.
But back, so I moved out here to get my undergrad. I studied marketing and advertising. I wanted to be a journalist, but I was like, the internet's kind of killing journalism, and it's just not what I thought I wanted to do. So I went into marketing and advertising, which was fun. You still tell stories. There's still a creative outlet. So I graduated in 2015. I was unemployed for half the year, which, side note, everybody's going to be unemployed. If they're not unemployed right now with the pandemic, that's very humbling. Kind of being at the top of your game in college and then get knocked down. I think everybody kind of needs to get used to getting knocked down and working yourself back up. You're not always going to be at the top forever. It's kind of
interesting that you had that experience when you were 16, where you were here and kind of came back down and then worked your way back up and kind of came back down. That you had that grit already, and you're like, I've been here, I can do this.
Awesome job hearing that, Gina. Awesome. I caught that as well.
Because I think unfortunately people, if you just think about privilege too, you go to college, you're doing great, you get into your college of your dreams, it's paid by somebody, and then you kind of have a great job and you do great in college, and then you're like, well, why am I not getting a 6-figure job out of college? It's well, motherfucker, you need life experience and you need to learn how to do your job. It's not, and I think that's something I feel like I fight with not fight. I'm a little bit more gentler sometimes with younger, because I mentor students at the U or just through some nonprofits, and I have to kind of remind them, you do not get your dream job out of college. And if you do, you're never going to value it. You have to kind of start from the bottom and eat a little bit of shit. Everybody does that.
Work in the service industry.
Right? That's why you work in the service industry. You want to know what it's like to work super fucking hard and be nice to somebody and they not tip you. Oh, I've been there where I'm you bitch, I gave you top-notch service and you didn't want to tip me. That's life. Sometimes you're going to work really hard and things don't pan out. So anyways, that was my takeaway from college or from graduating college. And then after applying to a million places, I got a job at an agency, super small agency in town. I did not like it. I knew the leadership was bad. And I was like, I can't do this. This is not for me. And I was doing project management. And then just through a connection, I got an interview with my last agency that I worked at. And it was like a tech startup, product build, marketing agency. It's actually where Gina's husband works still. He still works there.
Used to. Go-Kart Labs actually, well, I mean, he works for the company that
Yes, they got acquired.
Yep, they got acquired recently.
Okay. So that's actually how I know Gina, was I met her husband there, who is very smart. Him and I were fast friends, super funny.
Yeah. Pretty much all my friends are vetted through my husband first. I don't go out and find people. They find me.
Honestly, what a phenomenal friend.
They first.
Oh, the introvert in me is like, excellent. I don't have to do any of the work. He just approves them for me. Great. So that's how I met Gina. So I was working at that job and it was great. Like, it was very entrepreneurial. I met some super smart people. Most people had other businesses. I just learned a lot about working with big clients. I was probably one of the youngest people at the company, and I was client facing a lot of the big projects. And I've also learned for people that are in the agency world or any kind of more professional setting, you should find somebody who's in a leadership role. And I don't even think like mentorship's the right word, but you need to find somebody who's an advocate for you.
Yes, thank you. That is the word. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No. I'm glad you agree.
So I agree with you. So I come from industry as well. I was in a military for 10 years, and I was in corporate for a few years as well. And I always told so you need three individuals. You need an advocate, you need a sponsor, and you need a mentor, right?
Yes.
And all do different jobs. A mentor is going to be somebody who's been there, done that, show you the ropes, kind of guide you through your job, right? A sponsor is somebody who is in that high position. So like C-suite, VP, somebody of influence that you could use that one favor. Like, hey, I got a great idea. I need some face time with such and such. And that's that one favor that your sponsor could get you. And then you got that advocate. That's that advocate that's also in a position of influence. However, they are speaking on your behalf. So they're saying, hey, you heard that Jordyn did that project and she did really well. Man, Jordyn is awesome. But individuals that you would never have that conversation or that FaceTime with, that advocate could be in that position. So agree to your point. I think those three individuals are key in any career field. If you're a chef, if you're in corporate, if you're a life coach, you always want those individuals that can help you get to that right step. And to your point earlier, Gina, that support.
100%. And like that, because I think about like once a quarter, I would ask like one of the co-founders out for coffee just to kind of like pick his brain on what he was doing. And actually that's how I was. So through one of my advocates. And I also think too, like if you think about when a company has to make really tough decisions and the leadership's making that decision, let's say they have to do like layoffs or restructuring. If you have someone advocating for you in a room that you're not in, like maybe that your job isn't quote unquote safe, because nobody's job is really safe depending on the market, but you have somebody that's fighting for you to either like get a promotion, or they're not the first one that gets laid off because they know how valuable you are. Like it does more than like patting you on the back and like saying, good job. It's more like there's somebody who is, backing you up if tough decisions have to be made in the company. And that's how I felt. Right.
I have a question about that, because I, as a woman in the industry, and like you said, like you're young, you're a woman, you're, you already had the experience of somebody saying like, you need to speak up and stuff, but like being able to go to the CEO or the leadership team and be like, I'm going to ask you out for coffee, and to have that confidence to come to them and to make that opportunity for yourself. Like that's that's a rare thing, I think, for especially women, in the workplace to feel like they're, yes, exactly. Like a young woman to feel like she's empowered to do that. What do you have any advice for women who are like, man, I wish I could do that? Like, what do you think that you would say to them to be like, this is what you need to do, and here's how you can do it?
Good question.
I would say, so again, I think it's just from my experience of like having a mentor in leadership at that restaurant. And I was constantly in front of I think it was like an age thing. Like I've never been afraid of the power dynamic of someone in charge. Like I'm actually more drawn to people that like are more in positions of power, because I like want to know how they got there and what type of leader do I want to be. And I think when it comes to asking someone in a leadership role for like coffee or like a Zoom meeting, I think it's like, the worst thing they're going to say is no. So like, that's the worst thing. And then the second thing is why do you want to meet with them? Make sure you have a time in mind. Don't waste people's time. If there's anything I've learned, I have earned respect from people, especially in that industry, is if we had a meeting, I was like, hey, we're done 15 minutes early. I'm not going to take any more of your time. Let's just leave. Hey, I want to be mindful of when you need to be at your next thing. So then I make sure you're out of there, because there's nothing more that I hate more is when someone wastes my time. It's actually probably my number one pet peeve. And I don't like when people show up late. None of those things are excusable in my book, because I can do it with a million fucking things on my plate. You can show up on time. That's not non-negotiable in my book. So I think it's a matter of not even being confident, because I don't even think I was confident. I was more so curious. I knew that maybe they were just busy and they weren't interested. But if the intent was like, hey, I want to know as the co-founder what you're doing to grow at the time offices in DC, and could I potentially be a part of that project or whatever it is. So I think just having a clear intention on why, and not just like sucking up to a founder, because that's annoying and I could see right through that shit. It's more of like I know I wanted to be my own boss. It was more of like me interviewing people to see like, what kind of leader are they? I like their style. Could I just be connected with this person? Because successful people will help you. So I knew that like, if I didn't want to work in that agency anymore, that maybe this founder would write a recommendation for me, or he knows somebody that works at another company. So the intention should, and then also, what can you do for them? I always ask that, like, what can I do for you? Like, can I buy you your coffee? Sometimes it's just like bribing people with buying them coffee. I get bribed with people buying me coffee. I accept the bribe always for free coffee.
I'm for that.
So free coffee, you in the Minneapolis area and you want you want to connect with Jordyn,
yes,
and some more knowledge and jewels dropped on you, just offer her some coffee. She might say yes.
Or in Manhattan.
And
Just mail it to her. Just mail her a bag of beans and she's good to go.
Yes. So that would be my advice, is it just have a clear intention, be clear on what you want. And people, I just think we live in a different world. It's also very millennial for young people to want to meet with the CEO, and boomers don't like that. I've read studies about it, but I don't fucking care. Because it's like, I'm just adding more valuable people in my center of influence. And I think that's important. And to this day, I'm still in touch with a lot of mentors and advocates from my last job who are still referring me business, like because of the relationship I built with them. And yeah, just think about what you can do for them. And for me, it's like, oh, can I give your wife a pair of earrings as a thank you? Or, I don't know. It doesn't always have to be gifts. I can't think of another example. Or I can connect you to somebody.
Right. And
nice thank you note, like you said, connection.
Yes. Oh, write a thank you note every time. Every job interview, write thank you notes. People will remember you for that shit. I love a good card.
And I just heard you say that word again, Jordyn, relationships. It's the relationships that you built that continue to propel you.
Yeah. And also too, in people in their career, like I've always told myself I work for people, not companies. And like, that's like, every agency, you're doing very similar work. And I just remember when I met my, at the time, boss that I was interviewing for at this agency, I knew, I want to work for her. And I even told her, like, what do I need to do for you to hire me? I was like, I'll cage fight somebody. I don't care. And then I dropped off, cookies. And I don't know if like cookies are the reason why I got the job, but like I was up against 7 other people, and like they were probably more qualified than me. But
what do the cookies have in them though? Like
they were macarons.
Oh, yeah, that's.
She love macarons. You got to check out. Yeah, I did some research. I'm not a critic. I just want to know who I was.
No, I actually gave a speech about it.
Like TED talk on macarons. Like, oh my god, that was.
Like, oh my god, that's on the internet. Oh my god, that's on the internet.
Yeah.
I
was definitely researching you.
It's so good.
Going from, so you was at the tech company.
Yes.
Created a relationship with the founder. What was the jump between that position and you saying, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and try to start my own company. And what was that company and why?
So at the beginning of 2017, I started my own jewelry business called Mend Jewelry. And the reason why I started it was a couple things. I wanted an MBA, couldn't afford to get it. I tried to have the company pay for it, and that pitch didn't work out, but that's okay. I'm happy I didn't because it's expensive. I'm also I've always loved jewelry. There's like pictures of me as a 3-year-old wearing a watch, couldn't tell time. My mom was always like, you're always accessorized. And I just grew up around a lot of women wearing jewelry. And there's something very timeless about what jewelry can represent. And I've got a lot of hand-me-downs. Like this is my mom's wedding band that I'm wearing. Like jewelry is just this, and those who can't see, it's this like beautiful gold, what is it called? Celtic? I can't remember the name of the design, but it's just a really simple gold band.
Do you have anything on by men, by your company?
By earrings. my
Ooh,
earrings.
those are
I
nice.
may or may not be also repping
Oh.
her
Yes,
jewelry
you
as
guys
well.
will link my jewelry website, hopefully.
Oh yes.
Yeah, definitely.
So-
It's at the bottom, y'all. So first, continue this interview, listen to Jordyn Dope story, and then go to her website. And then Gina and I.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And then make yourself a Manhattan.
Exactly.
So I started it on the side. Again, it was more like, I've just always been entrepreneurial. Let's just see what happens if I like create a brand, build a site, set it all up, and just figure out if this is what I want to do. So I started that, and I was literally walking into jewelry stores. I didn't even have business cards, and I was like, hey, I think you should carry my jewelry. And I actually like was getting calls back, and I would just like come in and bring samples of my jewelry and be like, hey, I think you should carry my stuff. And like within only 3 months of being in business, I had like booked my first store, and they placed an order for 20 pieces, which is like the biggest order I had.
And that's just from just going. So at this time, at this time when you was doing that, were you, one, still working at the agency, and
Yes.
two, was this because everybody say I'm starting my own business,
Yes.
right? But is this a difference between a business and a hobby? This right here
100%.
behind me, this is my company, this is my hobby, this is the only thing I do. This is not my hobby. So was that a hobby or was that a business?
So I told myself consistently, and this is a mindset thing, I was like, this is going to become a business. I know this is, but I know financially I have to have a day job. So like day job was working at the agency, which I was working 60, 70 hours, which is very normal for me. And then on the weekends and nights, it's like I was doing events, trying to get my stuff into stores, just trying to grow this brand organically. And then in the summer of 2017, I just had a bad summer. We've kind of all been there where it's like a perfect storm of like family issues, financial issues. And I just like had this moment where I was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Like, I think I'm done. And then I was like, give me a couple of days to see how I feel. And then I just kind of made a promise to myself where I was like, okay, I was like, for the next 6 months, I'm going to just commit to keep doing this through the end of the year. And at the time, my business bank account had $40 in it. So I like got myself a check. I wrote a 6-figure number on that check, and I just put it in my wallet. And I said, this money's going to come to me. I don't know when, but I know it's going to come, and I'm going to work for myself.
Was that $1,000 and you only had $400 in your account?
I had $40 and I wrote $100,000.
$100,000.
So,
I'm sorry, I did some research. I love the story. I hope I don't throw you up, but did
no.
you that check yet?
No, I actually wrote a bigger check for a higher amount. And it's in
I
my
I guess I'm asking you, did you reach your goal?
Yeah, so we'll get there.
Boom! Boom!
Spoilers!
So I looked at it every week at the all company meetings. I would fantasize. I even started dreaming about me announcing at my all company meeting that I was leaving to run my own business. And at the time I was like getting job interviews at other places, getting to the last interview, and I wasn't getting the job. And I was like, weird, maybe I'm not qualified. And then through one of my advocates at the company, he connected me to this woman. And he said, hey, this woman's going to buy a couple pieces of jewelry from you. You should meet with her. And I was like, yeah, cool, whatever. So she emails me and she's like, hey, do you want to get a cup of coffee? I mentor women in business and I love your stuff. And I was like, sure, whatever. I'm always looking for more mentors. I'm totally open to getting coffee again. Coffee is how you get me. So I met her in Edina, like a bougie, fancy Starbucks in the suburbs. And this like beautiful, it was like a Starbucks, but it was like it was at the Galleria, Gina.
No, I was
so
saying,
like
how to get you? Do it have to be bougie coffee or can it just be like Dunkin' Donuts?
It could be whatever. I'll drink any coffee. It's fine.
Okay, continue.
So I meet her at this Starbucks and I'm like kind of nervous because like I've never met this woman, but like my advocate was like, you have to meet with her. And I was like, cool, whatever. So this like beautiful blonde woman comes in and she's like wearing my necklaces, has like a designer bag. And I was like, oh, okay, this woman's like got her shit together. Yeah. So I know, I was like, okay. So I sit down with her and we hit it off immediately. It's like her and I have lived very similar lives and the causes we care about are aligned. And not even kidding, within 15 minutes, she was like, are you looking for a financial partner in your business? She's like, I've been looking for you. And I was like, whoa, sorry. I was like, what? And she was like, 10 years ago, she's like, I wrote down on a bucket list that I would like to finance a woman in business who doesn't have the opportunity. She's like, and I think yours is the business. And I was like, are you sure? I was like, competitive like jewelry is. And like, and she was like, you ever thought about doing it full time? And I was like, I maybe. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I'm just really overwhelmed. I was like, can I think about it? She's like, yeah. She's like, think about it. She's like, in a couple of weeks, I want you to meet my husband and I want you to pitch your business to us and we'll see if it's a good fit. And I just remember leaving that meeting and I cried the entire way from coffee to my day job because I
Tears
knew
of joy, right?
I was like, oh, my life's going to change.
No, wait. And because I'm a big advocate of tears of joy, you cried. Was you crying because of what? What was that feeling? Can you please explain?
It was just
feeling?
like, you know, when like you feel like you've just been skipped over for opportunities, or you've never like felt like you just have worked so hard and you feel kind of escape by you because they have maybe other privileges or just maybe just a different set of circumstances. And I just felt like, oh, I'm going to get a shot. Like a random shot. Like she didn't know me. I was like, oh, she saw my brand before she saw me. And like, that's really fucking cool.
She saw your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
She's seen your dreams.
Right.
Listen to that, people. She's seen her dreams. She didn't stop with her dreams. That's what she's seen. That's what she felt. And what the lady seen and what the lady was looking for was somebody, a woman, a powerful woman that was passionate about what they did. And not caring that it was a competitive business. She just wanted passion. And when you have passion, man, you have success. Jordyn, please continue.
Yes, I love it. I feel like I'm in church right now. This is awesome. And you're just like,
stand louder for the people in the back.
I'm reading the book, and you're like, hold on, did you hear that?
You're moving me. I got goosebumps.
Oh,
I don't know if it's you or the red wine, you heard?
Probably both.
Easily
to be
both.
honest, it's both. So a few weeks later, I brought my fiance. We met at a pancake house. And because, again, I worked in the agency world, I knew how to pitch business because I had seen it so many times. And Gina, you've probably seen it at your job. Same thing with you too, Phoenix, about just what it's like to close a business. So I like put together the brand vision. I had my quote unquote financials, even though like I was like, we're in the red, but like we're seeing growth, just kind of bullshitting my way through it because I wasn't really sure. And I was like going through... I had an iPad. I was like going through the slides. I was like laying my necklaces out on the sticky table. We're all eating pancakes. And then I finished my pitch. And like, I just remember this like overwhelming sense of like emotion, which was really interesting. Cause like, sometimes it's not that I'm not emotional, but like when I'm in the zone, I'm like in the zone, I'm focused. I'm really just trying to convince them that they should invest in me. And I like look over, my partner's emotional, they're emotional. And they're just like, you've worked so hard and like you've really just like and I think what had happened is they had seen themselves in me, and they're both individually. So it's her and her husband, both self-made entrepreneurs. They've both worked themselves up from nothing. And she has such an incredible story, and she is just so amazing and has just been through so much. And she's
maybe
now
another guest, Phoenix?
She might charge you. I don't know. Her time is more expensive than mine. But you should meet her. And her husband is like, she was one of the top financial wealth planners in the country. He owns one of the biggest construction companies. And again, like both self-made, and they were like, we believe in you. We're like, we want to do this. They're like, we'll give you $200,000 for the next 2 years. And we want you to do this full time. We're like, we want
400.
Well, no, so 2 years total. So it's 200,000.
Okay,
so like 100,000 a year.
So that was your first check.
Doubled it. So I just remember being like, I remember the first thing I said was I was like, why are you doing this? And then like my fiance was like, stop it, you're gonna lose it. Don't. But I was serious. I was like, why are you guys doing this? I was like, I was like, what, why? And they were genuinely like, and I'll never forget her husband. He's amazing. He was like, success becomes less about the dollars you make and more about how much you're giving to people. And he's like, we're at a point where we want to do this. And they're like, we invest in startups, and you're one of them that we want to invest in. And you're going to be the first one that, his wife is really passionate about. And she wants this in her life, and she wants to mold a young woman that she sees herself in, which is such a compliment to me because I admire her. And so anyways, so we left that meeting.
If I can interrupt for just 1 second, Jordyn, because I really love what you're saying. And I love that this is this woman who has a very similar experience to you, who is kind of full circled back around and said, I want to find basically a younger version of me and give her more opportunity than I had. Because Phoenix has his trademark quote that I'm going to let him talk about because I think it fits perfectly.
Yes, thank you, Gina. That's man, that's a perfect segue. So I have a phrase or a movement that I'm passionate about, and a word phrase that I coined called tangible me. And the tangible me is someone like myself or the lady who helped you out, or that investor who lived the same and similar life as the individual, or like they mentee, and they do about face and turn around, go back to that situation or that world to grab somebody and take somebody that looked like them and say, hey, I am you and you are me. I could touch you, feel you, smell you, and we're the same. If I could do it, you could do it. So that's what that lady did to you. She grabbed you, she seen you, she smelled you, she said, this is me. And you looked at and back at her and you say, this is me. And y'all had that connection to where, tell us the rest, because that's what the tangible me is.
100%.
And viewers, this is the reason why I'm pushing that. And understand, in communities that I come from, and it's not a color thing, it's more of a class thing. It's individuals that they don't understand what success look like. And if we have more individuals like myself, Jordyn, Gina, the lady that helped you, and her husband, if we have more of those individuals who made it, that's sitting on top, that's where we could create true change. We could give back to individuals that are passionate, that have everything to lead up to that success, but just don't have the resources.
Yes.
Yeah, I will drink to that. Cheers.
Cheers to a tangible me.
That is 100% what that is. And I think without getting emotional, but I think you don't realize that you need to hear someone say, I believe in you, until they say it. And someone, again, who you don't know, but you respect, that to me is so powerful. And I have taken that and I have said that to young women that I have met. So maybe I can't give you resources, but I can give you the resource of belief and confidence that I didn't know I needed. So to have someone believe in you is I will never, ever, ever for the rest of my life ever forget that feeling. That is something, a forever feeling, if you will, is when someone believes in you, truly, unconditionally knows that you can do it. So
that's awesome. So then what was next?
So I then hired an attorney, this is the unsexy part. I hired an attorney. We sat in a room for 3 hours. We put together a 65-page operating agreement. I negotiated a salary, I negotiated equity. And how did I learn about negotiating equity? I watched Shark Tank. That was literally it. That's how I determined
That's how you had that idea, right?
Yeah. I was oh, sorry, I just kicked my desk. I was yeah, this is how I'm going to negotiate equity. And when I told them the number, they were oh, cool. I'm still the majority shareholder, which also proved the point. They were not in it. Yes, they want to see the financial gain of their investment, but they're we're investing in you. We want you to figure it out. You can be the majority shareholder. And then, so I had to pay for an attorney. I still have my printed operating agreement just sitting underneath my desk, and quit my job, gave them a 4-week notice. Everybody was shocked that the jewelry girl got funding. And I was fuck y'all. I was
exactly.
You
didn't believe in me.
Bye.
So it's just everybody, all those fashion designers or those rappers or athletes or movie or actors or actresses that have those big dreams to go into these fields where the competition is massive, and they say, I can't do it. What you say to those people, Jordyn?
I say bye. Bye. Yeah. I mean, then it's just, you're not for me. And I just think that and I'm in an industry that's pretty snooty, and I'm not that way at all. I actually don't take myself very seriously, as you can tell. And I think that has given me an advantage because it's unexpected. But yeah, so then I quit my job, and then for 2 years, so from the end of 2017 up until the end of last year, I ran so Men still exists, but I ran it 2 years by taking a salary. So I did it full time. I got into about 30 stores nationally. I launched a partnership with
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to ask you that question.
No. So I think a lot of those stores came from from a trade show I did in New York. So it was a lot of boutiques from all over the country that picked me up. And then I had a partnership with Nordstrom, and how I got that to come about was I had literally had lunch with my business partners at a Nordstrom. It's actually the one in Ridgedale, Gina, and we were having lunch there. And my business partner was what does it take to get in Nordstrom? And I was I don't know, I'll go ask. So I called down the manager, And I said, and I had pictures on my phone of an event. So this is the best part is I hired a photographer to take pictures of an event because I was like, I didn't get any professional photos, which by the way, nobody came to. So I did events where like no one knew who the fuck I was. I felt like a fucking loser. Didn't even matter that I got all this money. Like no one showed up to my first event. And I was like, what the fuck have I done? So I had all these beautiful pictures and this manager comes down and she's like, can I help you? And I was like, hey, I'm a local designer. I think it'd be really great if you would feature me as a pop-up. I'll do all the work. I'll bring in all my own inventory. I'll run a point of sale. If you want to take a percentage of sales, we can discuss that. Here's what my displays look like. Again, thankfully I had beautiful photos of my displays. I was like, let me know if this is something you'd be interested in doing. So she gave me her phone number and I called her every Friday for 3 weeks until she agreed on a date. And I was like, hi, Stephanie. I was like, it's Jordyn from Mend. I want to know if you're still interested in doing a pop-up. Here are some dates. I'm free. And then finally, I think she just like gave in and she was like, okay, fine, April, whatever, show up. You'll take all the sales. Let's just see how this goes. So I did a pop-up there, brought in all my old stuff. I mean, I sold out a product within the first couple hours. I smashed their sales goal pretty quickly. Holy shit. So then this is the best part. So then I like didn't hear anything about like following up about getting in stores. So that's the thing people don't know about retail is like dealing with big retailers is super hard and super just like it's really hard to get into in general. So I did that in April of my first year. So April 2018. And then later my first year. And later that summer, I get an email from a buyer from Nordstrom and they go, hey, we heard you did a pop-up at our store and you did the highest volume for that weekend. Do you want to do another pop-up? And I was like, oh, you want me to come back?
Oh, little old me. You want me to come back? Okay, let me tell you.
Let me call you back in 3 weeks.
Right.
So I was like, absolutely. And they're like, okay, we'll set the goal in which you hit last time. So then I like really upped up my game. And then I did that pop-up. I think I did in October and I doubled what I did. I doubled their sales goal. So I fucking smashed their goal. Also sales, baby. I can sell anything to anybody. I could sell you the socks off my feet because I think you need them. And
tell me more about these socks.
Yeah, exactly. They're really, really cute and they smell good. Probably not. But then after that pop-up, the buyer's like, okay, we'll test your stuff online. We'll do kind of a run of just us carrying your stuff online. So then also that year I had launched like a mini store in the Mall of America for 3 months in my first year. Nice. So yeah. And Gina, I think you went to that store. I
worked for that store.
Yeah, you did. You worked at my store. Which was so intense. But the week, so also if anybody wants to talk about working really hard. So the first 2 weeks my store was open at Mall of America, my staff couldn't start. So I literally worked 16 days straight at the Mall of America. I worked over 100 hours by myself in that store.
Hold on, so I don't think you understand the Mall of America. So the individuals that don't know what the Mall of America is.
Isn't it the biggest? Gina, is it the biggest mall in the country or am I making that up? Is it one of the biggest malls?
Top 3. It's at least top 3.
No, I think it's the top. I think it's number 1.
Is it number 1? Okay.
It's like an attraction for people that come to the Mall of America.
It's freaking huge.
Don't kill me in the comments and be like, no, my mall's number 1. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like, absurd.
It's an introvert's nightmare. It is overwhelming.
It's a lot.
Everything. There's thousands upon thousands of people. Like, It is intense.
Yeah. So I was working 100 hours. I worked 100 hours the first 2 weeks by myself. So I was working from 10 a.m. Or no, it was like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day for 2 weeks. And also while it's happening, I had to figure out how to set myself up with a national retailer online, which I had no fucking idea how to do. They call me, they go, hey, are you set up for dropship? And I was like, yeah, totally. I hung up the phone and I go, what the fuck is dropship? And then I had to call everybody I knew to get multiple systems set up so then I could sell on Nordstrom and get all my product out to Seattle so then they could photograph it on time. And then we launched 2 weeks before Christmas. And once I launched, I was filling orders until midnight because I had gotten so many that came in. So that was my and now I no longer partner with Nordstrom because basically what happens is with big retailers, it comes to a numbers game. They take a big percentage of what you sell. It's just a margin game. and you have to do a certain amount of volume. And I was doing volume for over a year. And at the beginning of this year, just wasn't profitable and good for my business. So I kind of just said, we're done. So I did it.
So individuals that's like interested or intrigued by that business, the retail game, and you said the big box companies or the big stores is not the way to go if you're not producing them in that much volume. What would be your suggestion? Should they do boutique? Should they market it themselves? What do you suggest?
It's just so tricky with what's going on right now. It just truly comes down to like, you have to be able to prove volume and demand. Like if I had the high enough demand for people to buy my product, then my margins wouldn't look so terrible. But I think when you sell online, like you have full control of the experience, your margins are better, your overhead is nothing. Retail just looks different. In store is not going to be the same with this pandemic. So like being online and being a digital brand is kind of it's a requirement now. So I would say like start small, start with your shop. And then if you want to expand to stores, it may not be for everybody. There are some direct to consumer brands that don't sell anything to stores, like Allbirds, you know, that shoe company, Gina, are you familiar with them? Phoenix, Allbirds?
I don't know.
Really good. They're amazing how I built this interview, but they don't sell to any wholesale stores. You have to buy everything on their site, which is so smart because all their volume is going to their website and then their margins are awesome. And then they don't have to deal with the nonsense of managing a million.
I want to say Crocs started out like that, if I'm not mistaken. It branched
There's
out.
a lot of, and I've noticed a lot of brands are either not doing stores. So again, everybody's retail strategy is going to look totally different. So and with my consulting business, which I'll get to in a second, I'll talk to retail brands about what their strategy is because it's different for everybody. And every product is going to have a different demand and different audience where you maybe have to be on a Nordstrom to reach them. So I don't know. But I learned a lot about the unsexy parts of retail, the logistics, the management, the costs associated with working with big box. I even flew to Seattle and met my buyer in person, which was amazing. I brought her a gift, took her out for coffee. We had a really good conversation about getting the scoop on what it's like to be there. So all good experiences. I learned a lot. And I just learned that right now my business it doesn't make sense for where I'm at to be partnering with a Nordstrom. I'm just not doing the amount of volume. And that's okay. It may feel like a failure at first, but I did it. And I know there are brands that would be killing to get on Nordstrom. And I figured out a way kind of through the back door to do it.
And you've also built that relationship with them too. So if there is another point in your life where like you have something, or you can make that connection for somebody else as well, like you have that relationship to be able to reach back into, which is amazing.
100%. Oh, and that's the thing too. I'm friends with the manager of that Nordstrom. Every single staff person bought a piece or I gifted them pieces during the pop-up. Like you have to I don't know how to not be preachy when I say this, but anytime you are offsetting your product to another store or service to sell it for you, like it is your job to befriend, to train, to give that staff the passion you have to sell it, because nobody's going to sell something as good as you. It's just, that's how it is when you guys are coaches. People are hiring you, people are buying from me. And any store that I've sold in, I offer a free training. I come in, I bring everybody coffee. I gift most people get necklaces. So when they're wearing it on the job, they're selling the product for me and they care. And then when I come in, they give me a hug and they're more likely to sell your brand because they know it's just you. Like they want to help you out and they know that it's a one-woman show. And I think that's really important. So
I also agree. I think that's very important. So with your lessons you learned in retail, I understand you have another business that you ventured out on your own and created. So tell us about that transition and how, where did that come about and what made you step away from being, I know you say you ran your business. It sounds like you don't run it anymore. Can you tell us that transition and what that looked like?
Right. So Men still exists and I still run it. I just don't take a salary from it. So actually at the end of last year, I put myself through an accelerated business program and it just taught you a lot about the financials of business. Just a lot. I think you can never stop learning because at first you're very naive as a business owner. So took a really awesome program through a nonprofit and they did a whole entire section about the financials, which I felt like I had the fundamentals of it, but I wanted to outline because my funding had ended at the end. It was going to end in 2019. can I afford to take a salary? Because I took a very conservative salary. I was making less than the first job I got out of college, and I had to pay for my own health insurance. So I was not making a lot of money. But that was not the goal. The goal was to put as much money into my company as I could.
Thinking about the end game.
So yes, if you think if you want to run a business and think you're going to be making $1 million, don't go into this business. You're in trouble. You got to learn how to ball on a budget. I know what it's like to be professionally poor and like live paycheck to paycheck and just get by and just pay off the minimum payments on my loans when I was running my business.
You have to be willing to do what it takes.
100%. That's the it factor is, are you going to do what it takes? Some people, no, because it's not convenient or it's,
and that's okay. Like if it's just not
Right,
their personality or like, that's cool. If you just want to go like work for 9 to 5 and that's your thing, totally cool.
Totally. I would stab myself in the face if I had to sit at a job every day and just do the same shit. But that's just not for me. And that's okay.
Yeah. And I like your face. So
thank you. It's okay. I think about like, I don't want to die at a desk job. That's not the life I want to live. So, and some people do, and that's okay. Then they have other personal lives that maybe they live. I was
going to say, after you went through that course, you understand the financials, then what happened?
Yes. I realized that, I went through all the scenarios of what it's like. If I continue to take a salary, do I need to ask for more funding, which means I have to negotiate more. I have to give up more equity. Do I take a partial salary? Do I take no salary? And every time I removed my salary, my business was instantly profitable. And it felt like a no-brainer. It was a harsh reality, but I've kind of done this business thing backwards. Most people don't take a salary from their business for the first 5 years, and then they take a salary. And I was kind of the opposite. And I sat down with my business partner and I said, hey, like, I'd rather us be profitable than me take a salary and us sit in the red because we think I can afford a salary when we just can't. Like, I know that it's a seasonal business. So let's continue the business. Let's continue the partnership. And as the business starts to profit, like I can start paying you back and we can start figuring out, am I buying back equity? Am I paying off the loan? And also too, like they're angel investors. So if I decide I want to walk away from the business, I don't owe them anything. So that's also why they're incredible humans. But I'd like to pay them back.
The difference between the angel investors and other investors, go back to episode 2 when we talked to Sonia, and she explained that because she was a former shark, venture capitalist.
Yeah, so, that's awesome. Good reference. Sorry, so I keep kicking my desk.
Go ahead, Jordyn.
So then I decided I wasn't going to take a salary, and this was at the end of 2019. I felt like a failure because I thought I couldn't have made enough to pay myself a very conservative salary. I cried a lot. I called my business partner sobbing and I said, I feel like a failure. What am I going to do? Like the last paycheck I get is in December. And like, how am I going to figure this out? Like, I don't want to go back to the life that I had. Like, I'm so used to being my own boss. Like, I don't know what to do. And I had a couple job offers come in and they just didn't feel right. And I just looked back to like all the people in my network that I had spent 2 years growing and the amount of times I was asked out for coffee to just talk about like business things, design things, marketing things. And I thought to myself, okay, I've worked in the marketing agency world and I've grown a business from the ground up. Like I can be a consultant and I can help small businesses with marketing, design, sales, anything you can think of, I can become a consultant. So side note, with my network, I keep a list of people that are in my network and I rate them silver, gold, and platinum. And they're from all different industries, all different ages, races, ethnicities, and they all serve a different purpose. My business partners are on there, doctors are on there, my attorney's on there, friends are on there. So if I'm like, oh shit, I need more money.
Can you say that again? I don't think people caught that because I didn't. Say it again. What do you do?
You just keep a list of like your center of influence people. Only have 50 people on that list. So if something happens and you're like, oh my God, I'm running into a legal issue, I'm going to call my attorney because I have a good relationship with her. She's going to refer me to somebody. Or, oh, my friend who is a doctor. You know what I mean? Like just having these people that you have just built relationships with, full circle.
Yeah, support circle.
You have a guy for everything, or a girl, or a person.
Yeah, and like, like Gina's on that list. Like there are people that are on this list. So if something
you can add role models to that list as well on the platinum side.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure you want to be like Phoenix is going to to be on there next as like number one
you
hype
can join
band.
my list.
When you need to be hyped up, you go to Phoenix.
1,000%.
Exactly. You need a partner and partner and get into your model self. That's me.
Yes.
Put me on your platinum.
1,000%.
Yeah.
So I went on that list, and what I did, so I decided I'm starting a consulting business. I'm going to try it out for 6 months. I have enough money saved. And my partner was like, go for it. I'm here. Also have a supportive partner. He was like, I want you to be happy. You don't belong in a day job. We're going to make this work. You try and set it up, try it for 6 months. If it doesn't work, we'll figure out a game plan. So I started another company. It's called the Pyrite Project, which is my consulting business. And I started, it's called the Pyrite Project.
Not the pirate. Pyrite. So pyrite is a gemstone because my jewelry is made of gemstones. Here's a piece of pyrite. For those who can't see, it's fool's gold, which we've all seen. So that's pyrite great. Is the money stone. I have a huge piece of it in the corner of my apartment. It's good for like manifesting wealth, success. It's all about just manifestation and financial success. So I always keep this. So the Pyrite Project is about bringing that sense of financial success and manifestation to businesses that I work with. So I emailed everybody on that list and I said, hey, I'm starting a new venture. I put up a site really quickly and I was like, hey, I'm starting a new venture. This is what I'm going to be offering. If you know anybody who would be interested, please let me know. And by the end of February, I had 3 3-month contracts booked. So I was already booked out for 3 months just within my network. Right. And they're mostly small business owners and they're mostly women. I do work with a couple men who are amazing. And it's been great. And now I've moved to less retainer and more project basis. And all of my business is referral. And now I'm getting referrals from people I don't know. And they're out of state and they're not just from the Midwest. And I do everything from like logo design. I wrote copy for Gina's website. I build websites. I do market, like anything I did for my own business, I offer to women and I don't price gouge people. I'm the like sweet spot of like, not a super expensive agency, but not a woman who's undervaluing her work. And also someone who does really, really good work as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I checked out your website and I checked out your website, Gina. Amazing. If you're interested in getting your website done or your small business and need some consulting to get into that next level or next step or get into that first step, check out Jordyn's website.
Thank you. And I think there's something really important about, and I think about my women clients, about them not being afraid of making more money and what can we do to set them up so they're focusing on like increasing their sales or helping streamline processes so they're not spending so much time in the business and then they're working on the business. So I've been doing that. And then I pro bono will mentor students at the U of M that are kind of graduating from college. And then I mentor women who are part of a nonprofit program that puts minority owned business owners. They matched me with them and I help them put together their business plan, a pitch deck, help them figure out if they need funding, how much funding they need. And I help them get on their way. Because I just think about what my business partner did for me. Like, I can't give you money, but like I know people with money and I can try or I can help you figure out creative ways to get money.
Wow.
Or do you even need money? I don't know. Or it's like your branding, your messaging, and also like, is your business even going to sustain itself? Because I feel and women are historically known for underpricing their work and their products. So if your prices are already low, you're not going to survive because you're going to have to sell 1 million fucking t-shirts just to pay rent. You know what I mean? So it's just and I can do it in a way where it's direct and it's kind, but I've also been there. And I just want to take away the stresses that I had as a business owner when I didn't have anybody. I mean, outside of my business partner, or I'm going to connect you to somebody that they're going to trust my referral. So that's the like core of why I want to consult is I know how hard it is. And we need more small business owners. They're like they're the heart and soul of Minneapolis and women-owned leaders. We give back to our communities. Like,
and oh my gosh, so they turn out so many good products and things. And like the things that I've bought from small business owners here in Minneapolis are some of my favorite things. Like they're the gifts that I give. They're the people that I refer when I'm like, hey, you need a good piece of clothing or a good piece of jewelry. Like this is where you should go because it's just, there's another level of quality. There's another level of that personal touch that they bring to it. That is just, it's unlike a big box experience. You know, it's so much more personal.
And I would say that's not just in like Minneapolis, but that goes across the nation. Because I come from New York City, where we don't even have a Walmart within the city limits. We rely on the small businesses to get our groceries, we rely on the small businesses to get our day-to-day products. So what you're doing is phenomenal. And I think that any individual where if they are in their first initial stage of starting their business, or they are in the middle and say, hey, okay, I got my business plan ready. I'm ready to launch my website, but I just don't understand content. It sounds like you provide a turnkey service from start to finish. So
yeah, and I genuinely want to just help people. And I think again, if you're a successful business owner, you want to help other people. And I think we're better in numbers. And I befriend every single jewelry designer in this town. We're our own little community, and there's enough money and wealth to go around for everybody to start their own business, but they have to really want it and care about the product and have a bigger goal other than just making a shit ton of money, which we all want to make a shit ton of money. I'd like to be filthy rich on a yacht. That's my goal, is to make a shit ton of money. And I'm not afraid to say that, but I also want to do good along the way and not just, be a rich asshole, which there's too many of those right now. And I think you can do a lot of good with just the resources. And for me, it's I don't have all the answers, but I have a lot of people that might have the answers. And yeah, I just think we need to help each other out. It's not hard. It's just not hard to be kind. And I feel right now it's harder and harder to find. But anyways.
I just want to say, I like rich assholes. So if you want to hire me for coaching, please hit my link below. I like you.
Yeah, there you go.
If you're rich and you don't want to be an asshole, you can hire me. I'll help you tweak that last.
There's somebody for everybody. Honestly, that's how I feel. There's enough market for everybody to play.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I don't know. I think running a business is hard, but I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to work for anybody else. You have no ceiling when you work for yourself. It's hard, but yeah, I don't know. I've been having a really, really fun time, and I've met some really awesome, smart people. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm happier, and I'm actually making way more money now that I'm consulting, which is great. So
wow, yes.
I doubled my monthly income since not taking a salary, so I've been doing just fine. But I still gotta sell. I gotta sell every month.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jordyn, it was absolutely wonderful to hear your story from beginning to end and all of the plot twists in between. And I love that the running theme throughout is the relationships and also the kindness that you can spread, that you had somebody come back and reach out to you and help you fulfill your dreams, and that you are turning around and helping other people to do just the same thing. And that is what we need more of in this world. So thank you so much for sharing your perspective as a boss lady and CEO business owner. We'd love to have you on the show.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for your words of wisdom and your jewels. And I just ask if it's one last jewel that you would like to provide our viewers with, our viewers and our listeners with, what would that be?
Oh, something that inspires them.
Something that inspires them, something that you feel like that nugget or that what is that stone, the fool's gold that you had?
Your pyrites.
The pyrite. Provide them with that pyrite. What's that pyrite that they could hold on to anytime they feel like in the gym or they can't persevere? They could touch that pyrite, that intangible pyrite that you're about to give them.
I mean, definitely carry something that reminds you of how far you've come. The check to me is I carry that. I always have something that reminds me of it. But I think you're truly in charge of how successful you want to be. Yes, there are going to be things that you feel are going to be put against you, whether it is the color of your skin, your circumstances, your fight. I think you truly get to decide how successful you want to be, but also what comes with that is a lot of work. But if you just have to want it, and you have to have a North Star, and what does that look like? And that's really important. And grit is not, I think it's a sexy word, but it's really hard. And but the end result is so fun. This whole process should be really fun. I have so much fun in my everyday, and I'm happy. I could make this amount of money for the rest of my life, and I'd be happy. And I think
your voice, that's how happy you are.
Yeah, it's just, I'm having a really good time. And I think you got to really want it. And you're in charge. You have no ceiling. So it's really, and you can't, and it's not about being fearless. It's about how courageous you want to be. Put yourself out there. The worst thing someone's going to say is no. Literally, that is it. That is the worst thing that's going to happen to you. And And you said this at the beginning, ask for help. Successful people want to help successful people, period. Someone does not want to help you, they are not successful. I don't care how big their bank account is. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I would say cheers to that, but
cheers, guys. Oh my God.
So we're at the end of the show. I ran out, unfortunately. But that's a good segue. Thank you for that. It's a good segue to my favorite part of the show. It's our thing of the week. Our thing of the week is when we provide our viewers with something that we learned or something that we read or just a jewel that we would like to provide the viewers with leading into the next week until they see us. So my thing of the week is a thought, a challenge. I challenge everyone. I challenge you as we approach the weekend. I challenge you to think about that one thing that you wanted to accomplish or you wanted to do. It could be that book that your mother or family member told you, hey, this is a good one, you need to go read. Or it could be that movie that everyone's talking about on social media, but you didn't have a chance to watch it. Or it could be that room, like me, or that task project in your house that you wanted to accomplish, but a year later it's still sitting there because you just didn't have, or you thought you didn't have time to do it. So I challenge you to sit back, think about what that thing is, and do it. And once you do it, I'm gonna hold you accountable. Declare when you're gonna do it by. It's gonna be Saturday, Sunday, and then hit us in the comments saying, I did this, send a picture, we'd love to see it. And that would be awesome. That's my thing of the week.
Phoenix, I love that. And I also feel personally attacked. I've lived in my house.
I know a lot of people will. They were like, oh, what, you talking about me? Yeah, I'm talking about you.
It's all of us. We all have that thing.
Yeah.
And I know that everybody, like I saw Jordan's face, I saw my face and, in the video, and I'm just like, that thing came to mind. And
I was like, oh shit, we do that thing.
Calling us out. Why you gotta be like that? No, I love it. I think it's wonderful. So my thing of the week is the book Boundaries: When to Say Yes and How to Say No to Take Control of Your Life by Henry Cloud. I love this book. It does have kind of a religious river that runs through it, which for you, those of you who are religious, awesome. For those of you who are not, I think that it could be transferred into just spirituality or whatever your personal belief is. But I think that the core of the book, which is figuring out who you are and what you need in life to be able to be successful and to be able to build those relationships. This book really helps you to understand how to build those boundaries, right? Because we continue to talk about relationships throughout this episode and all of our episodes. And I think it's very difficult to build relationships until you have one with yourself. So that's what that's about. And I think it's a really good read that everyone should check out.
Awesome. I think I'll check that book out. Thank you for that tidbit, Gina. Well, that brings us to the end of our show. Jordyn, again, thank you for a dope show. It was awesome getting to know you. I think you're an amazing woman, a boss. And please, everyone, viewers, subscribe to the show. Tell a friend. Check out Jordyn's website. Check out Gina's website. Check out my website. Check out our show next week. Can't wait to see you again. Gina, what you have to say to the people?
I think you wrapped it up very nicely. All I have left to say is we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.